Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're diving into something a lot of you have mentioned in your notes, your messages.
hmm
It's that feeling, you know? You're doing all the things for your English, listening to podcasts, watching videos. You get daily exposure.
Yep. You're putting in the time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then, when it's actually time to speak, your mind just goes blank.
Ugh.
It really is like being on a treadmill, isn't it? You're
Mhm.
working hard, maybe even sweating a bit, but you're just not moving forward.
It's such a common feeling. And if that sounds like you, please know you are definitely not alone.
Right.
We hear it constantly. So many comments describe either really slow progress or just feeling like nothing's changing at all. And,
Mhm.
both are valid feelings.
Yeah.
Just because progress doesn't feel fast, well, it doesn't mean it's not happening. Learning English, it's often like watching a sunrise.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. You sit there in the dark for a bit, wondering, when's the light going to come? And then, really slowly, almost so you don't notice it at first,
Mhm.
everything just starts to glow.
That's a great way to put it. And that's really what this deep dive is all about, based on what you've been sharing with us. We want to challenge some conventional thinking about fluency
Hmm.
and maybe show why the things you're already doing day in and day out might actually be your most powerful skill.
If you use them right.
All right. So let's kick off with a really foundational question, one that could honestly shift your whole approach. Which comes first, speaking or listening?
It sounds almost too simple, doesn't it? But
Yeah.
it's a truth many people underrate.
Underrate.
Yeah, they think it's less important or valuable than it really is. The core truth is this. Fluency always, always begins with the ear, not the mouth.
Okay. Always with the here.
You simply cannot speak what you haven't truly deeply heard first.
That feels significant. So if someone's always been told, just speak more, practice speaking, what's happening when they try that without enough listening foundation?
Well, it's like, imagine trying to write music, having never really heard music.
Okay, yeah. Impossible.
Right. You just be guessing, forcing notes together.
Yeah.
It's frustrating. And that's often where that blank mind feeling comes from when trying to speak.
That makes so much sense.
It's a perfect analogy, really. I mean, think about babies. How do they learn language?
They just listen for ages.
Exactly. Months and months of just listening. They're not studying grammar rules. They're absorbing patterns, sounds, the rhythm, the intonation of their language, long before they even try to say a word.
Mm-hmm.
And when they finally do speak, it's not because they've consciously learned it. It's because they've heard it all, maybe 1,000 times.
Right. It's just in there.
It's in there.
Mm.
But adult learners, we often try to skip that phase. We get impatient.
I'm patient.
We want things to happen fast, right? We want to speak quickly. And we don't always give our ears the time they need to really tune in properly.
And that impatience, that skipping the listening part, leads to that struggle.
It really can.
So our mission today is to kind of guide you back to that foundation, deep, meaningful listening. But we're not just going to say, listen more.
No, absolutely not.
We want to show you how to listen, how to do it in a way that actually builds fluency naturally, tackling some of those roadblocks you've told us about.
Precisely, because honestly, one of the biggest mistakes isn't not listening enough. It's often listening in a way that kind of sabotages your progress.
How so?
Well, many learners treat listening like a test, Play the audio once, try frantically to catch every single word.
Oh, I've done that. And then you feel awful if you miss something.
Exactly, you feel defeated. But real listening, the kind that helps you grow, it's not about perfection. It's about having a clear purpose each time you listen.
Okay, purpose, not perfection. I like that. So how do we shift that purpose? Your idea of listening in layers really stood out from the research. Takes the pressure off.
It does.
So you take one audio clip, right? And listen 3 times, but each time with a different focus.
That's it. 3 layers.
Okay, so layer 1 is the gist.
Yep. First pass, just listen for the overall topic.
Yeah.
What's it about? What's the mood? The main idea. Don't pause. Don't stress about words you miss.
Just let it wash over you.
Exactly. Let it wash over you. Get the general feel.
Okay, then layer 2.
Layer 2, you listen again, but now you focus on structure.
Structure, like grammar.
Partly, yeah. How are the sentences built? What tenses are they using? But also, listen for the rhythm of the speech, how ideas connect. You're noticing the architecture of the language.
The architecture. Okay, got it. And the third layer.
Layer 3 is detail, emotion, and intonation. And you listen again, maybe a bit slower this time. Pay attention to specific word choices. What's the emotion behind the words?
Like how they sound.
Exactly, the intonation. Does their voice go up at the end of a question? Do they sound curious, sarcastic, tired, What are those subtle clues telling you?
Wow. Okay.
And the result of doing this, listening in layers, it's powerful. You're training your brain to pick up language on multiple levels at once, not just meaning, but feeling, nuance, structure.
Which is what fluency really is,
Right.
right? Not just words, but the whole package.
That's it exactly. Understanding and conveying both meaning and feeling.
Okay, so once your ears are tuned in like that, the next urge is often to jump right into speaking, maybe mimicking what you heard.
Right, the mimicking or shadowing.
But you mentioned that can sometimes make you sound, I don't know, a bit robotic or unsure.
Yeah, if you jump in too fast.
Yeah.
Which brings us to our second powerful shift. Shadow with silence first.
Shadow with silence. Explain that.
It's about giving yourself a moment,
Hmm.
a little space to just feel the language
Hmm.
without the immediate pressure to reproduce it perfectly.
Okay. Like with music, you don't usually belt out a new song perfectly the first time you hear it.
Exactly. That's a great parallel. You listen,
Hmm.
right? You absorb the melody, you catch the rhythm.
Maybe you hum it a bit first.
Yeah. You hum, then you sing.
Mm.
It's the same idea with English. Give yourself that humming stage.
So practically, how does that work? You play a sentence from the audio.
You play the sentence, then you pause the audio. And instead of immediately trying to repeat it, just sit with it for a beat.
Let's do a silence.
Just silence. Let the sounds, the rhythm, the intonation kind of soak in for a second. Remember, you've already listened in layers for meaning and structure.
Right.
Now, in this silent moment, you're listening for the feel. You're letting it settle. Shadowing works so much better when it builds on those layers instead of just, skipping over them to the repetition part.
Letting your brain kind of dance with the rhythm before you echo it, I like that.
Mhm.
It seems like that would naturally lead to more, well, natural sounding speech, not just memorized phrases you're parroting.
Precisely.
No?
It internalizes the flow.
So silence isn't empty space here. It's
Yeah.
preparation.
It's crucial preparation.
Yeah.
But, these techniques, listening in layers, shadowing with silence, they're great, but they don't work if you only do them, like, once a month.
Right. Which brings us to consistency. That came up a lot in the feedback, too.
It's critical. So our third insight is create a daily listening ritual.
And you emphasize the word ritual here, not just a habit or something you try to do.
Yes, a ritual. Something that has meaning for you. Something you actively protect. It's that small window in your day that belongs only to your growth in English.
I remember doing this when I was really focusing on another language. I just carved out 15 minutes every single day. No multitasking, no phone checking.
Just focused listening.
Just me, headphones, and the language.
Oh.
And it really did become, well, like you say, an anchor.
And it doesn't have to be long. That's the beauty of it. Even 10 minutes, maybe while you're brushing your teeth or making tea or on your walk to work. If it's consistent, it shapes your brain.
It's the often, not necessarily the long.
Exactly. How often, not how long. That daily ritual builds rhythm. And that rhythm, that steady exposure, is what builds fluency over time.
So the advice is find your moment. Morning walk, coffee break, winding down at night, whatever fits your life. And make that listening time your protected, quiet, daily practice.
Let it be your anchor, something steady you can count on.
Okay, anchor established, ritual in place. But then what do I actually listen to? That's the next hurdle, right? The sheer amount of stuff out there.
Oh, absolutely. Which leads us perfectly to powerful shift number 4. Curate with intention.
Curate like a museum.
Kind of. It's about
Okay.
being selective. Because you're right, we are drowning in English content. Podcasts, YouTube, audiobooks, TikTok, Reels. It's endless.
And it feels like it should be good, all that choice, but it can actually just freeze you up. You called it content overload.
It is overload.
Yeah.
And it can leave you feeling totally paralyzed. You don't know where to start, so you maybe don't start at all, or you jump around.
I've definitely felt that. Opening 5 different videos, listening to a minute of each, thinking I'm being super productive by sampling everything.
Yeah. And how did that feel?
Honestly, looking back, it was just overwhelming. I wasn't really learning deeply from any of them.
Exactly. Your brain feels scattered, your focus is drained. So the answer isn't always to consume more. Often, it's to choose better.
Okay, so how do we choose better?
Pick just 1 or 2 English sources. Things you genuinely enjoy listening to. Something that feels familiar. Something you can return to again and again without feeling pressured to always find something new.
So less is more in this case.
Less is absolutely more, because depth builds understanding and repetition builds fluency. Think of it like a garden.
Okay.
You can't possibly water every single plant in the world, right?
Right.
But you can choose a few, Care for them deeply and really watch them bloom.
I love that. Go deep, not wide.
Go deep, not wide. Familiarity is your friend here. When your brain recognizes the speaker's voice, their rhythm, common phrases they use, it relaxes.
And that frees up energy to notice more subtle things.
Exactly. It frees up mental bandwidth for deeper processing, for absorbing new vocabulary or structures within that familiar context.
So find your core input, a favorite podcast, a YouTuber you like, maybe even this deep dive.
Could be. Let that be your home base, your safe zone for that daily ritual.
Right. Your anchor content.
Your anchor content. But then, once you have that anchor, once that foundation feels strong and your ears feel comfortable, there's one more step.
Okay.
To really grow, to push your fluency further, you have to eventually step outside that comfort zone. Our fifth shift is listen across contexts.
Ah, okay. Because real-world English isn't just one style, is it?
Not at all. It doesn't sound like a carefully scripted lesson. It's fast, it can be messy, it's full of different personalities, accents, interruptions.
So hang on. I can see someone thinking, wait a minute, you just told me to curate, to stick to one or two familiar sources.
Yes. It sounds contradictory, I know.
So how do these fit together?
Think of them as phases. Phase one is building the foundation. Consistency, familiarity, letting your brain relax and tune in with your core, curated content. That's crucial first.
Yeah, build the base.
First is the base. But once that base is solid, once you feel reasonably comfortable there, now it's time to stretch. Now it's time to push the boundaries a bit.
Got it. So it's not either, it's sequence.
Exactly. It's a sequence for growth. I vividly remember the first time I tried watching a totally unscripted interview between two comedians I liked.
Oh, yeah. Disaster.
Disaster. They were laughing, talking over each other, finishing each other's sentences. I just sat there completely lost, understood maybe 10%.
Been there.
Because real-world English isn't just one neat package. It's interviews, yes, but also arguments, debates, excited chatter, people mumbling, sarcasm, jokes, pauses, overlaps. All of it.
And if you only ever listen to, say, clear news reports or structured lessons, your ears stay inside that safe bubble.
Precisely. And real fluency, the kind that works in messy real life, doesn't live inside that bubble.
It's like going to the gym, maybe. You start with controlled movements, maybe lighter weights.
Good analogy.
But eventually, to get stronger, you have to challenge yourself, right? Add weight, try more complex moves, work on balance, speed.
That's exactly it. You need to challenge your ears in the same way. So once you have your anchor, intentionally step out. Watch a messy travel vlog. Listen to an emotional speech. Try a fast-paced news discussion. Then maybe switch to a comedy podcast where they interrupt each other.
And the goal isn't necessarily to understand 100% right away.
No, not at all. The goal is to expand your ear's tolerance, to teach your brain that English comes in many forms, many speeds, many accents, and that you can start to keep up even when it's not perfect.
Because the real world isn't going to slow down for us.
It definitely won't. But if you've trained your ears across these different contexts, different voices, different settings, you won't need it to slow down as much. You'll be ready.
That feels really empowering. It puts the control back with the listener, with you.
It does.
Okay, wow. That's a lot of powerful shifts in how we approach listening. Now, to help everyone really absorb some of the key terms we used, let's slow down for our vocabulary breakdown.
Sounds good. Let's revisit a few of those useful words. These can really help you talk and think about your own learning process.
Okay.
First up was underrate. Remember, to think something is less important or valuable than it really is.
Right, like most people underrate how powerful listening can be.
Exactly. Then we had impatient. That feeling when you want things to happen fast and you get frustrated when they don't.
Many learners get impatient when fluency takes time. Yep, felt that.
Next, overwhelm. That feeling of too much. Too much information, too many emotions, too many choices.
Like all that content online can overwhelm your brain.
Perfect. Then curate. That careful choosing or organizing, like picking your learning materials.
Curate your input so your brain doesn't get tired.
Nicely put. And related to overwhelm was paralyze. Not physically, but mentally feeling so stuck or unsure you can't act.
Too many options can mentally paralyze you.
Then anger. Something strong, steady, grounding.
Make your listening ritual the anchor of your learning. I like that one.
Me too. Mimic. Simply copying how someone speaks or behaves.
Like shadowing. Don't mimic too fast. Feel the rhythm first.
Spot on. And that lovely phrase, let it wash over you. Just listening easily, without stress, absorbing the general feel.
Play the audio and let it wash over you. Relaxing.
It should be. Then grow beyond your bubble. stepping outside your comfort zone, trying new or challenging things.
Listen to different styles to grow beyond your bubble, that stretching phase.
Exactly. And finally, one size fits all. Describe something meant for everyone, but usually isn't perfect for anyone individually.
Fluency isn't one size fits all. Your journey is unique. Very true.
Indeed it is.
Thanks for that. Hearing the words again with the examples really helps lock them in and makes them feel usable.
My pleasure. And if you were listening to this deep dive and maybe you found yourself understanding more than you expected,
Yeah.
that is progress.
Mm.
Right there. That's fluency growing maybe quietly in the background, just like that sunrise we talked about.
That's a really encouraging thought. So the message is keep showing up, keep listening. Even on those days it feels slow or like you're stuck on that treadmill.
Especially on those days.
Remember, your ears are learning far more than you probably realize.
They really are. And maybe, just maybe, leave you with this thought to ponder. How might developing a deeper relationship with sound itself, not just words, but all the sounds around you, how might that unlock even newer dimensions in your learning journey? Something to think about.